And Ernesto, was that helpful, brother? We're gonna get this thing. All right.
Yeah, that was very helpful. Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate it.
You got it, brother. All right. So today, let's talk about how to get paid. All right. Um, if you guys working with myself or man, I mean anybody who's growing this business, I promise you that the number one question anybody should be asking you is, did you get paid? How much did you get paid? If you work with me and I've asked you that, put it in the chat. Like put in there if Dom's text me, yo, did you get paid? How much you get paid? You know what I mean? Like that is it's probably the biggest question outside I'm gonna ask you outside of like how are your kids doing if you got kids. Like if you got kids, I'm interested. Does it make sense? But I'm so interested in did you get paid? Okay? Because if you're not getting paid, and the fuel in this business is it's reinforcement. My wife does behavior. She's a behavior analyst. She always talks about positive reinforcement. She loves our business because we get daily deposits. She doesn't love our business because we sell insurance. I'm just from a behavior standpoint. You guys hear me out, okay? She goes, you guys are in a business to where you can get reinforced for your behavior every single day. She goes, I work with teachers who have to work all month to get one paycheck at the end of the month. And they know how much it's going to be when it comes, and they got to show up the whole month to make it happen. You guys get 5 times 6, 30 days a month to get reinforced. Some banks do deposit on Saturdays. If your bank doesn't, then you got 5 times, you know what I mean? 5 times 4. That makes sense. But you got 20 to 30 days a month that you can get a deposit. I think we got to take a step back and realize how big that is. At your best paying job that somebody's had on here, right? You were making 200 grand a year, 100 grand a year. Dude, you got paid 8 grand every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks. 8 grand. And I got my man on here, Jason, going, I just got paid a grand today. It's Tuesday. It's Tuesday. See, so before we get into how to get paid, we got to wrap our mind around. Do you guys understand what we got on our hands? Do you understand why getting low in this business is no bueno? Because the highs are right there. It's right there. You get low in real estate, I understand, bro. It's real lumpy. I understand, but I don't. I don't understand because you know you got into entrepreneurship and sales, so you should know, right? Like, hey, this is what you got into. But I do understand that, dude, it's gonna have some lows. Insurance, life insurance. I've never had a lull in my business. And if you were on the call yesterday, the only time I did have a lull is when I thought I was better than the activity that I knew I should have been putting in. It's the only time. Never had money issues when I was working. Never. But it's that piece. All right. So we can get paid. We have the ability to get paid. Oh, sorry, I didn't hit record.
I did.
Uh,
I got it.
you did? All right. So we have the ability to get paid every single day. Unlock that in your mind. Okay. I think some of us work like we're going to get paid in 2 weeks. Like you got tomorrow, like you could put stuff off. When you really realize that today is all that matters, you start compounding those days and then the deposits start rolling in every day. But you have to expect it. Expect it. Write it on your wall. I get paid 6 days a week. I get paid every day. I get paid every day. Maybe that's a new affirmation for all of us. Make sense? I get paid every day. That's massive. Start there. Okay. Now, with from lead flow to cash flow, right? A lot of us, when we start, we're going to be more in than out, right? So we're going to be in 500 bucks, 1,000 bucks, okay, whatever that is. we have to create the cash flow. Okay. So when let's just say let's keep it Tuesday, right? So we're gonna say we wrote policies over, let's say we wrote policies over the weekend. You got paid today. Best thing you can do today is buy more leads. Okay. Don't wait until the leads that you bought on Thursday or so, because you probably still, I'm sure you still got leads in that you can still call. Don't wait until Thursday to buy leads. This isn't when you're starting to create your cash flow, Darlene, it's not a once a week I buy leads. It's when I can buy leads, I buy leads. Okay. On trainings, you may hear every day, every week, buy leads this day, this time. I get that. That's for the person who's already cash flowing. You got to be careful when you're listening to training. Like when I'm hearing that training, where am I with that? Do you know what I mean? People go, oh, yeah, I book appointments. Yeah, I know. Did you have a dialer and you get 20 appointments a day? That's not you, though. Make sense? So don't listen to the people who go, when I book appointments, dude, that's not what we're doing. You with me? So, the oh shoot, I'm sorry. Where was I? I lost my train of thought. Where was I
Buying
at?
leads whenever you
Buying
can.
leads. Okay, buy leads because you have to create this flow.
Yeah.
So don't wait until the next Thursday. So if you spent five on Thursday, you wrote $2,000 on the weekend, you're getting paid 1,500 on Tuesday, spend another 500 to $1,000. Okay? The reason is, and this is the part that where folks get caught. It's the 20th. A lot of your rent or mortgages are due the first third. Okay? A lot of you, us, myself, when I started, dude, I was thinking about my rent already. Like my rent was due on the 4th. I just got paid 2 grand today. I was like, shit, I just got paid 1,500. That's gonna be my rent right there. Let me put that aside. And then I cuff myself the last 11 days of the month. Who's done that? Don't worry, I won't judge you. I did that. Don't worry. It's all good. You know what I mean? It's cool. But we can't keep doing it. You make sense? We can't keep repeating that. So if you're new getting in this, remember, I opened this thing up. We got 30 days to get paid. We can get paid every day. You write a policy on a Monday, get paid on Wednesday. Write a policy on Thursday, get paid on Monday. Make sense? So with that, if I know that, why would I wait? Why would I hold on for my rent? Why would I hold on for my child's daycare that I got to pay on the first? This is where being an entrepreneur and believing in yourself is big. This is where not just that's why sales is not what makes an entrepreneur. Because a lot of people can sell, but can you be the investor as well? That's where that's where the rub comes in. Because everybody's always down to make the money, yeah? Always down. But are you down to put it back in? When in your mind, you think you have more important things to take care of. See, at your job, you worked to get that paycheck to pay your bills. Matt, you didn't sell that policy to Rose yesterday to pay your bills. You sold that policy to Rose to help her to infuse and build your business. See, it's just thought process, you guys. At your job, you can think that you got paid. Yeah, that's one of my bills. You have zero expense, zero downfall. That 5 grand, 2 grand, 1,500 hits your bank account. It's 1,500. You're not looking to multiply. There's no X on your money. It is what it is. Here, you can X your money. So you have to be the one who knows how to place it, where to put it, and where to hold it, and where to put them in. Make sense? Because if you don't, you're going to get stuck with rent paid, no leads, and no money to generate money for next month's rent. And now you're in a real bad spot because you held on to your chips for 11 days, not believing that you could flip another policy. Like if you know what excites me the most about chargebacks? What excites me the most about chargebacks is I know if I did it once, I could do it again. See, a lot of you guys get upset that you got chargebacks. I go, okay, I got an interest-free loan. Do you guys get that part? Interest-free loan. Interest-free loan. You guys know anywhere where you guys can get interest-free loans?
Yeah.
Interest, when I started my batting, I say my batting average, my credit score looked like a batting average. A good batting average though, Matt. Don't laugh at me. It was a good one though. All right. I would have went to the Hall of Fame 2 times. But bro, there wasn't a bank in sight that was going to give me no damn money. Okay? So when I saw that the only consequence for this loan is that I had to work and pay it back at 0% interest, you guys, I'm sorry, you didn't have to trick me. There was no more games. I was like, that's it? So you mean I go sell insurance, they pay me. If they cancel it, all I got to do is keep writing and pay them back at 0% interest. Yeah, Dom, and like, hey, if you get good at it, when you get good at it, 80, 90% of your business is going to stay on the books. What? But at the beginning, dude, 30, 40 may fall off. You got to deal with that. Oh, dude, I got that. Like, what's the big deal? So what do you got to do? Dude, just don't spend all your money on dumb stuff. Reinvest in leads because that's where you're always going to get your money. You go out and buy a car, you go out and buy this, you go out and buy that with your money, you're going to lose. Those chargebacks are going to hurt you. But if you're always putting your money in places to where you can exit, and exit doesn't mean leave, exit as in multiply. Okay? Now you're in the game. Now, when months 10, 11, and 12 rolls around, back in, renewals, you hired some folks. Oh, God. Now you're really here. You're really moving. Right? But that's generated, though. We have to create that. All right. Any questions about that? Or any of that? Fans pay. But when I started looking at it as just an interest-free loan, it was never my money. It wasn't my money. I had bills, I had my bills, but that wasn't my money. So I would just use their money to generate more money. Is this the first time anybody's maybe thought about that? Advance pay, interest-free loans. It wasn't like that at the beginning for me, Henry. I was the upset agent. I was mad at the damn chargeback and stuff like that. But then when Sean explained it to me like this, I go, damn, I'm really getting mad that I wrote a policy on Monday for 80 bucks. They paid me 800. The client didn't pay, and now they want 800 back in 2 months. Wow. Like, you don't think over 2 months I could have used that 800 to make 8,000? Gives a damn about the 800. That's where I look at it. I'm like, who cares about the one chargeback, dude? That chargeback gave me the loan that I needed to get the 80, 90% of the business that's going to stay on the damn books. But we get so hyper focused on that little percentage. Make sense? Somebody asked me earlier, said, hey, I had a guy charge back. I said, did you get paid? They said, no. I said, happens. But if they would have got paid, they probably would have been more upset. And I'm like, no, that's even be more happy that you got paid. Like I wasn't like, I'm not down. I don't want everything to fall off the books, but be clear. If I get paid 2 grand and was able to use it to buy leads and do my thing and boom, 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 shit. I'm sorry, Mary, that you don't feel like you need the insurance no more, but shit, you helped me buy leads. You helped me help more people. Thank you. Perspective is everything with working. When you're working, if you don't plan on working again, that's when you get upset. Because now you're like, damn, the answer is I got to go to work. Yep. But that was my answer all the time. That's where I knew the work was going to pick up for all the stuff in this business. So use your commissions appropriately. All right, use them appropriately. And don't ever ask, you're not asking people for permission to do like, hey, can I spend my money on this or do that? But just be smart. I'm not big on like, hey, put X amount aside for taxes and stuff like that. Like, I don't like when you put money aside for taxes, are you Xing your money while you're putting it aside for taxes? No, that's the dumbest thing ever. Don't talk to your CPA about how to manage your money. That's the dumbest person you can talk to, by the way. Okay? And I would say it right in front of my CPA. She's very good at her job, but that's her job. Okay? Her job isn't, she doesn't teach me how to make money. Kidding me? She goes, why you spend much money on leads? I go, you see the income? She goes, yeah, but like, do you have to spend so much money on? Oh my God, you don't get it. If I don't spend the money on the leads, I don't have the income. But I'm just letting you guys know, tax people, CPAs, bookkeepers, they don't understand what we do. So don't ask them for advice. Tell them to do your taxes. Tell them to give them your books. Does that make sense? That's all good. Makes sense. Like, but you got to separate that stuff. Just because people do things with money doesn't mean they know how to make money. And I think that was an assumption of mine for a long time. I thought people who worked at banks were rich. I thought people who worked at Merrill Lynch had money. No, they don't. They don't. They just have a job. They have a job. So these are just good things as you're managing your money and you're doing these things just to kind of, pay attention to these things. All right. Have a bank account. Okay. Everybody, when I started, I had a bank account with my mom. All right. Like that was kind of weird. So that's the first time I really realized that I had a bank account with my mom is when I started getting a job. And I was like, maybe I should get my own bank account. And then it was like, maybe I should get a business bank account. Okay. And then it was like, oh, like 4 or 5 years in, I was like, okay, let me get an LLC. So I'm just letting you guys know. Day one, you don't need none of that stuff. You don't need an LLC. You don't need none. You need a business bank account. That's what you need. All right. And you need all your commissions going into your business bank account. And you draw from that bank account. You can transfer over and things like that. But the worst thing you can do is have the same bank account that you rent. Everything goes, you don't have one bank account doing everything. And Jason, I see you there, brother. I'm sorry, bro. I gotta call you back, dude. Um, but don't lose, like you don't have everything in one bank account. All right, your commissions all go in one, your leads, all your business expenses come out of one, and all your personal expenses come out of another. All right, and it's not too late. You're like, man, I've already started. I've submitted my carrier contracts. It's cool. You can change it up. All right, but it's highly, highly important, and it's going to let you know when I separated my money my first year, I didn't do that. I didn't listen. Sean told me to do it. I didn't do it. My first year was a mess, straight mess. I made $200,000. All of it went into my bank account. I was just shifting things around. Boom. It was a complete mess trying to do my taxes. Okay, so prepare for that. All right. Any questions about any of that? Bank accounts, frequency of pay, how we get paid, uh, anything to do with that?
I do.
Yes.
Did you create an LLC for yourself and then open a bank account under that LLC?
Yes. Yes. I did that. Let me give you guys rule of thumb, okay? I would do that after I start making 20, 30 G's a month. That's what I would do. Anything before that, you're being a fake businessman or woman. Okay? Like you're just
Okay,
doing
that's
stuff.
what I was wondering because it seemed kind of ridiculous to me to like set that up before I sent in my banking information when I got
Correct.
started. So I was like, I don't really
Correct.
see the point in
So
it if I wanted to double check.
hell yeah, but great question though. But definitely do it. Like when you start cranking 20, 30, 40 G's a month. Hell yes. Get
But
yourself set yourself up a LLC, and then you will pay yourself through your LLC. Like Bryce, that's how he gets paid. Okay? Like that's how I got paid until I sold my business. All right. I had commissions come straight to me at the beginning, but then I was getting paid so much, dude. It was insane. So it was like my business needs to get paid, and then I just paid myself like 150 grand a year. And then my business kept everything else. Makes
but
sense?
before then, you
Yeah,
should set up a separate checking account within your bank that you use. So it doesn't need to be a business checking account. It just needs to be a separate checking account.
correct.
And then once again, like Dom's saying, once you get to the point where you're gonna get an LLC, W-2 yourself, put yourself on payroll, which is like kind of the progression, then you'll go from, okay, I'm just transferring money from my business bank account, which is just a separate checking account, to my personal account. Then it's going to do that automatically when you start payrolling yourself. Does that make sense? So absolutely set up a separate checking account within your personal, just whatever bank you use for
Yeah.
now.
And you guys, I just called it business account just because that's what I called it. Like it was not like a real business account. It was just another checking
Correct.
account.
Me too.
But I just needed to call it something, Darren. Like I was just like, yo, it's my business account. You know what I mean? Like, no, it was just another Bank of America account. What's up, Matt?
I currently have an S corp that's like active.
Okay.
Would you recommend setting up a business account for that?
Is your escrow is it licensed?
Yeah.
No,
Okay,
no, dude,
insurance.
here's the thing. You're going to use your S corp for tax purposes and that's it.
That's it.
Does that
Okay.
make sense? Like it
Yeah.
doesn't really matter, dude. I have a business bank account now. It doesn't mean anything. It's just through Chase, there's a couple extra little stupid benefits that
Hmm.
actually sometimes honestly it annoys me more than when I just have my regular credit union where I personally bank. Does that make sense? And so
Hmm.
honestly, don't worry about that from a banking standpoint, but when you file taxes at
Right.
the end of the year, you're going to file them under your S corp. So
Hmm.
the insurance carriers are always going to pay Matthew Gleave
Yep.
as an individual. But when you go to file taxes, it's all going to be filed under Matthew Gleave LLC. Does that make
Correct.
sense?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, that does.
So, and your CPA will know how to do that. So, like all commissions would come to Dominique Rogers, but then she would fill something out and make my business unit, my S corp, be the person who got taxed for all that.
Okay.
But the type
That
of
makes
bank
sense.
account you have does not
Yeah, the
affect.
type of bank account don't matter. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great
Yeah.
question.
Yeah, it is. Really is.
I already have an LLC set up. Does the name of it matter? It was for my previous, it's El Cruz Realty or something. So does it need to be specific to this or am I able to use that current LLC?
I think you can use it, but I think they're going to fall in different categories. So I don't think the name matters, but where the LLC is placed or something like that, you're going to have to move it or something
I
like that.
may be able to change the DBA or something like
Correct.
that.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, but I don't. But you can use it though. I'm sure you can.
Well, I have it connected to the CRM because they made me have one when I set up the
Okay.
CRM. That's the
Okay.
one that I currently use, but I didn't know if I needed to do a whole nother one. Now, when y'all say bank account, it's fine to keep my same credit union, just a separate account, or do I need a whole
No.
different bank account in a regular
You can
bank?
use the same bank. Same bank,
Okay.
just get another account. You just want something that separates the deposits.
Okay, cool. Sorry to be.
Yeah, just to separate them.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's real humbling when you separate it too, by the way. It was humbling for me because I thought I was super paid, Bryce.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, dude, look at all this money I got. And then I separated it, and I was like, oh, dude, you really ain't your business got the money. And then when you start looking at it like, oh, my business got the money, I don't got the money, it actually makes you work harder because you want the money, you want yours, right? You still want yours, but when it's all together, you psychologically tell yourself it's yours. But then Uncle Sam wants it.
It's so massive for just keeping things in order. Like I pay myself, W-2 myself, less than what I was making before I started in insurance. Does that make sense? Now, my business makes way more, but I just to like for tax purposes, just because I just pretty much I've always just kind of paid myself what I need and then I've kind of gradually increased it over time. So I claim taxes based off of X amount of income. It's not my full business income. You know what I mean? And so like, yes, 100% it's humbling. Now, if I didn't have that, I would be like, oh my God, I'm making all this money and I can just do whatever the heck I want with it. But because I'm like, dude, I really almost don't even look at my business account. That thing just gets all the deposits added to it. And then I really judge how I'm doing based off of what I'm paying myself. Does that make sense? And like outside of my business, that's the money that I actually have to work with and live off of and do all this stuff. And so like I just couldn't imagine like if I didn't separate those two early on, I would just have like a distorted perception of like what I could do with my money. And then if there anytime, there's times get rough where it's like, oh shoot, I owe extra money in taxes, or I gotta, I want to do this new recruiting thing, or I got to charge back, whatever the case is. Like I would be like, oh shoot, what I did all this, I bought a new car with this money. You know what I mean? When it's actually that should have been my business money, right? So like it's so important to just separate those two things. And then early on, really, you should just be paying yourself what you absolutely need to live off of, not be increasing your lifestyle. And then as the profitability starts to snowball, then you see this like just growing, ROI and gap. You're like you'll know when you're like, all right, I got a little bit of cushion to not just transfer into my personal account what I need. Like I can start to give myself some play money as well. You know what I mean? But I see a lot of people get into trouble when they start paying off credit card debt. They start transferring too much into their account for play money. And then if they need it for their business, they're like, oh shoot, you know?
Dude, and I when this really started making sense to me, because you can work hard, right, and not be financially sound. I was making money, but I was spending a lot of money. Okay. So I had to make it because of the way it was going out. But when you separate the accounts and you live on what you need, you start to have these business goals that you can start to hit, right? So like you'll look at your business account, like if when everything's all mixed up, you'll start finding that like you're like, damn, why am I always like right here? Like I remember I used to always be like at like 5 grand, like five, six, $7,000 in my checking account all the time. I mean, it was the wildest thing, dude. I'd be like, dude, I can make 40 grand and somehow, some way, I got 5,500 in my account. Do you know what I mean? And I'm like, what the hell? Why is it always? Then it would fall a little bit lower. Then maybe it may go over 10 sometimes, but then it would fall. And I'd be like, dude, why is this just never growing? It never grew because I never separated it. So, but when I separated it and I started going, all right, well, your rent is this much. All right. You get paid this much. I'd pay myself like 500, $1,000 a week. And then at the end of the month, like 2 grand. So like 5 grand a month is what I'd pay net. So I understand the gross would be more, but I don't concern with the gross. I need to know what net do I need to live. Okay, I'll let my tax person do all the other stuff. But I told her, hey, I need 5 grand a month net to live. Okay, cool. And they do whatever they need to do. Next thing you know, dude, I started seeing my account, my business account, just boom, 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 boom. 10 grand, 20 grand, 30 grand. Dude, I remember I hit 100 grand and I was like, whoa. Then on the same token, and I think Bryce, this may have been about right when you started working with us. I think I remember talking to the team at this point going like, hey guys, like, hey, we just hit 100 grand in our bank account, right? Business bank account. And I said, guess how much money I have in my personal bank account? And everybody started guessing all these wild ass numbers, right? Oh, dude, you probably got like 150 grand, 200 grand, 30, whatever it is, right? They're saying all these numbers, right? I take a screenshot. Bryce, do you remember, were you around?
Yeah, I think this was right when I was getting started. I remember.
Right. I pull out my B of A thing. I go, all right, here's my business account. Boom. $114,000. I went to my B of A. Boom. $5,200. Everybody was like, what? I go, yeah, like we're good. Like, well, my wife's paid, she gets paid, we're good, and the business is super healthy. If anybody on my team needs anything, we got you. It's not about me going out and buying a new Tesla or getting a new house. It's about making sure our business is healthy. But when everything was combined, I could never say that. I could never do that. And then from there, 100 grand, 200 grand, 300 grand, it was insane seeing 6 digits in the access to like money that like I thought it was crazy when y'all saw 5 digits, to be real. I was like, what? You mean I can go touch that anytime? And then it turned into 6. And then it turns into 7, and you're like, what? And then you're like, oh God, there's 8 and 9 out there too, though. Like there's more. And you can create it, you can generate it, right? But it all starts with separating it and having goals. All right, having goals around it. And your activity, as long as your activity stays the same or increases, your income should never ever change. It should only get better. All right, it should only get better. The only time I saw my income level off or go backwards is when, and I said this before and I'll say it again, don't let your ego get the best of you in this business. I was young in baseball. I got humbled really early in baseball to where I realized I was like, yo, people are a lot better than you. You got to realize in business, people work harder than you. It's a humbling thing to really like to go, damn, they're better than me. Doesn't mean they're better people than you. But if working hard equals better, well then that's what they do. And that's one thing Sean Mike has. That's one thing he's taught us all is to go out there and work our butts off. And guys, this hard work isn't really hard work. Let's just be real. Like we call people who filled out forms. We just have to raise our expectations on what's possible, but lower our expectations on how good we should be right now. I think some of you guys think that like it just should be so like, oh, I just got that. Like, no, it's cool. Like you're gonna suck sometimes and you'll bounce back, but if you hit it once, you can hit it again. If you put up 20 grand once, you can double up and do 40. I'm sure you can. I was just talking to some guy who does a lot of like content on Instagram, and he goes, he's at like 60,000 followers right now. And he goes, man, I want to get to 1 million by 2027. And I said, you can do it. He goes, you believe that? I go, yeah, dude, there's people who like get millions of followers in 2 months, let alone a year and a half. He goes, damn, you're right. And this is a guy who's from the ground up killing it. He's going to be huge on social media in the golf space. Massive, but he's lacking a little bit of belief of like what's possible. And I think a lot of us here in this space, we forget what's possible as it pertains to us getting paid. We forget that we get paid every single day. We forget that our negativity isn't going to help us get to where we want to go the next day. Now, at a job, who's to say you can't be negative for 2 weeks and still get paid? Y'all been there? It don't work here. You can't do that. And that's the part. Like you will get penalized for not just locking in and going, you know what? I'm grateful for what I have, right? I know, man, and it's okay to feel, okay? But it's also, you got to be able to check yourself out of feeling and go, you know what? What I'm feeling right now is temporary. And the result that I want, I'm not going to get there by thinking like this. There's no way. And the last thing I'm going to say, and then any questions, we have to remember that we're talking about getting paid and, managing our money and things like that. At the root of all this, there's clients. There's your mom, your dad, somebody who's just like your cousin on the other end of the phone. And they're going through some stuff. And they need some help. So when we're talking about work hard, Devin, it's not because like we're going to get a trophy or you're going to, you're going to get all these accolades or anything like that. It's because we are legit saving people from the worst days of their life. Like, this is like, I'm sorry, like when y'all are going through stuff or feeling away, I'm like, the people that you're attempting to call, trade with them. Take their problems. And I bet you very quickly, Shantae will be like, give me them damn leads back. I'll call them. I'll call them. I don't want to trade with none of these clients, but they need our help. And a lot of us think that, well, if I call them this much, I'm going to hurt them. Like a lot of us hitting the brakes, we say verbally and to ourselves that we're doing it to protect the client, right? I don't want to hurt the client. I don't want to put them in the wrong product. I don't really know what I'm talking about. I don't want to be embarrassed for them. Like I don't want, no, 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 no. The client don't care. We're doing it so that they don't judge us. One of the biggest assets that I think that we can acquire as entrepreneurs is the ability to not care what people think about you. I mean, I think that's one of the biggest things that you can inherit, you can have. Can you acquire it? Absolutely. I've seen some people who freaking, golly, everything that people said, they freaking heard it. Makes sense? And I've seen them change into like, dude, they don't give a shit about nothing that they can't control. Be clear. There's things I care about, but things I can't control, that shit run off my back like Rain-X. Does that make sense? All good. But we have to get there. Okay? Like we have to get there. We have to get to a place to where everything isn't a big deal. Everything isn't a big deal. We believe in ourselves. And we know that if we put the work in, dude, we're going to get something out of it. All right. Now, that simply doesn't happen overnight, but it's day after day after day of self-talk, activity, doing, getting punched in the face, and building up that thick skin. Nobody's born with it, by the way. I've never met anybody who was like, dude, they were just born just super tough. Yeah, right. No, they went through stuff. They went through stuff and they acquired it and they got there. Some of y'all just ain't went through stuff enough. It's all good. All right. And when you were going through stuff, you weren't the person that you wanted to be. So now you're going through stuff. This is a challenge. This is big. You know, who do you want to be on the other side of it? Look back to all your trials and tribulations and say, hey, did I respond? Was I the man or the woman that I would want to be today? And a lot of times I look back and go, nah, dude, you weren't. But it's cool. Today, I'm going to be that. Today, I'm going to step up to the plate. Today, I'm not going to shy from that. I'm going to run straight towards it. And when you start running straight towards it, adversity, dude, next thing you know, you're like, oh, that's all? That's it? That's it. No big deal. All right. So we got a few minutes here. Questions, comments about anything. But that's my take on getting paid, structure.
I got a couple questions. Oh,
what's up, Jay?
So I got a couple questions. But I mean, just to piggyback off what you just said there, I mean, if you really dig in and talk to these people and get to know them and listen to their problems, we don't have any problems. We don't have any problems at all. I talked to somebody the other day. The lady lost her son. She just got diagnosed with cancer. Her husband's busting his butt. He needs a policy. They've talked to 40 people trying to figure this out. And I'm like, I'm not kidding. The lady cried. I cried with her. Like, I mean, it was bad. You know, not bad, but it was actually good. But I helped him out, and it was just like, that's something where, you know, it's like it makes you feel good, you know, to do that.
Did y'all just hear what he said? It's bad, but it's good. See, that when you start hitting those crossroads in this business, that's when you know you're doing something right. That's when you know it's starting to get good. When something terrible happens, and for some way you're like, God, this is good. Do you know what I mean? Like, my client dies. I'm like, oh, God, this is a terrible day, but damn, thank God I was there to help him. You know what I'm saying? Like, you start seeing things like, yeah, it's a terrible day for you, but a great day for my profession. because it lets me know that what I'm doing matters. See, it takes it away. Me and Connor were talking about transactions. Was it last week? The way we're talking about getting this is not a transaction. What Jason's talking about right there, that's not a transaction. That is a service. That's a service. And when we start serving people, you start really realizing the effort, the persistency, Kelly, that you're putting into your business right now. Kaya. I know Kaya got a full-time job. She get off after work, weekends, does it. But the persistency you're putting into your business right now, your clients, they're going to recognize it. Don't get frustrated with it. All right? Know that the persistency pays. And your clients, they respect it. They respect it. So be the light in your clients' lives if they allow you to be. If they want to shut you out, give it a valiant effort, all good, but move on. You be the light for somebody else. But don't let these clients dim your light. I see that too much. These clients dim your light, and then you don't got no light to shine on nobody else, and you wondering why it ain't working. And you be like, and that's why I'm so straight. That's why I'm so like, you'd be like, if you hear me wrong, you might go, what an ass. But if you hear me right, you go, man, he's just protecting himself and the people that he really wants to help. That's why you got to be so black and white, no gray area. Because if you live in the gray area, you're gonna be the only one twiddling your thumbs upset. But if it's black or white, there's no confusion.
And then, just to add to that real quick, like those are the people that I'm looking for. I'm searching. I got tons of leads. I'm searching for those people that I can help. And I had a guy earlier that day that was like, give me a quote, give me a quote. And you know what? I hung up on the guy. I go, I don't give quotes. The guy just kept arguing with me and I just hung up on him. I'm like, you know what? That's not my client. He's not, I could already tell from the first minute or two talking to him, he's not going to buy. So I'm not going to waste my time and try and talk him into talking to me. I just move on because I'm looking for that person.
Save yourself. When you figure out who you are in this business, you will start standing up for yourself. Up until then, people will step all over you, which is, hear me again, okay, you got to go through that. I've never in the history of life insurance sales seen somebody not get stepped on to learn how not to get stepped on. Make sense? You got to do that. You can't avoid it. All right? But it's just about how long you get stepped on. How long do you let that happen? How down do you get before you get up? All right? I hear people say all the time, it's not about how many times you get knocked down. It's about how many times you get up. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. It's about how fast you get up. How fast do you get up? Everybody get up unless you die, right? Do we agree on that? Only way you don't get up is if you die. So that whole knockdown, getting up crap, that is for the birds. Stop all that cliche stuff. All that cliche make you feel good stuff. That is meant to make you average. It is. Birds of a feather flock together. What? I'm telling you, go back and listen to all these little dumbass sayings that the funny thing is like a lot of rich people say them to get broke people to follow them, just so y'all know. Rich people don't follow people who do stuff like that. The broke people do. And they make a lot of money off of broke people and they stay rich. That's the game. That's the game. You either play the game or you get played. I choose to play it. Sean Mike taught me to play it. And there's been times where I have been played and I looked up and went, damn, they got me. Damn. Yep, got me. But you know what? We can move, we can shake and move in this business. So thank you guys for today. The time. Any more questions, you can put them in the chat or shoot me a call. But we're right at 3 o'clock, 6 Eastern. So I know you guys got things to do and let's keep rocking. Bryce, I know Bryce will get this call up. If you guys have any recommendations, future, I know we have a schedule out, but we can move things. Okay. So if you're like, hey, can we hit on this? Can we hit on this? Give us some recommendations. We'll fit it in. All right. Right on, you guys. Thank you guys for having me. Bryce, thanks for setting all this up, man. Good job. Later.
See you guys.